Under the tropical sun of the West Philippine Sea, the silhouette of an aging Japanese destroyer escort now represents something far greater than a second-hand warship. The Abukuma-class, once the silent guardians of Japan's home waters, are now the bridge to a new era of defense cooperation between Tokyo and Manila. Yet, as the first 3 ships await inspection by the Philippine Navy, the strategic question is already shifting beyond the transfer itself, toward whether Japan will help Manila build its next generation of frigates locally and sustainably. When Japan offered 6 Abukuma-class destroyers to the Philippines in 2025, it marked a historic milestone, the first large-scale transfer of major surface combatants from Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force to another country. The move came as part of Tokyo's evolving security doctrine under the 2024 defense export reforms, which allowed Japan to transfer and even co-develop military platforms with trusted regional partners. For Manila, this was both an opportunity and a challenge. An opportunity to acquire valuable assets capable of anti-submarine and anti-surface warfare, but also a reminder of how limited its current naval capabilities still are. The Abukuma-class are compact, 2,000-ton destroyer escorts, equipped with a 76mm Otomalera gun, Harpoon anti-ship missiles, and torpedo launchers. In their prime, they were well suited for coastal defense and convoy protection. For the Philippine Navy, which has long relied on lightly armed offshore patrol vessels and a handful of frigates, even aging ships like these offer a significant leap in capability. They provide the Navy with its first serious exposure to networked naval combat, sonar operations, and coordinated surface warfare, areas long dominated by larger navies. But the Abukumas are over 3 decades old. Their sensors and fire control systems are dated, their gas turbine engines require heavy maintenance, and their helicopter decks are too small for sustained ASW operations. They will serve as valuable training and transition assets, but they cannot form the backbone of the Philippine Navy's future. That realization is precisely what gives rise to the idea of a post-Abukuma phase, a co-build frigate program that would allow the Philippines to construct, maintain, and eventually design its own surface combatants with Japanese technical support. The logic is simple. For Japan, the transfer of Abukumas is a diplomatic gesture, but the true strategic payoff lies in helping the Philippines build local capability. For Manila, owning ships is less important than learning how to build and sustain them. According to recent discussions reported by Japanese and Philippine defense outlets, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries and the Philippine Department of National Defense have explored options for joint production, possibly at Subic Bay or Cavite Naval Yard. These facilities, once symbols of foreign military presence, could be reborn as centers of regional shipbuilding collaboration. The design most often mentioned is a compact derivative of the Mogami-class frigate, a 3,900-ton multi-role ship with modular architecture, stealth shaping, and full-spectrum warfare capabilities. A simplified version, stripped of Japan's classified systems, could serve as the blueprint for a Philippine Mogami. Such a project would follow the model of Japan's cooperation with Indonesia, which has already produced hybrid-built patrol ships under license from Japanese firms. The economic implications are equally important. the establishment of a sustainable defense industrial base in the Philippines would create jobs, attract investment, and anchor the country more deeply into the security architecture of the Indo-Pacific. From Tokyo's perspective, supporting Manila's naval modernization strengthens Japan's own defense posture. By helping build a capable and like-minded maritime partner, Japan effectively extends its deterrence perimeter southward, forming a strategic arc that connects Okinawa, Taiwan, and the Philippine archipelago. This arc complicates China's military calculus and dilutes its ability to dominate the South China Sea. For the Philippines, closer cooperation with Japan offers an alternative to total reliance on the United States, while still maintaining the interoperability required for trilateral operations with US and Australian forces. This evolving partnership also carries an industrial and technological dimension. Japan's defense companies, long constrained by export restrictions, are now seeking reliable partners to expand production and reduce domestic costs. The Philippines offers a young workforce, strategic location, and shared security interest, making it an ideal candidate for the regionalization of Japan's defense industry. What begins as co-production of hulls or systems could eventually evolve into joint R&D, covering sensors, command and control systems, or even next-generation patrol ships. Predictably, Beijing views this emerging cooperation with suspicion. Chinese state media has already labeled the Abukuma transfer as part of a shadow AUKUS designed to contain China through maritime proxies. But this framing overlooks the core reality. The Philippines is not becoming a proxy, it is reclaiming agency. For the first time in decades, Manila is shaping its defense trajectory based on its own interests rather than external dictates. The involvement of Japan, a nation that emphasizes quality, precision, and long-term planning, introduces an element of strategic maturity that the Philippines has historically lacked in its procurement decisions. In practical terms, if the Abukuma transfer proceeds smoothly and the co-build program materializes, the Philippine Navy could operate by 2030 a mixed fleet of roughly 9 surface combatants, 3 upgraded Abukumas, and 6 new frigates built under Japanese supervision. This would allow the Navy to maintain 2 rotational task groups capable of patrolling and responding in the West Philippine Sea, significantly enhancing Manila's deterrence posture. The budget trajectory supports this vision. Defense spending is projected to rise from about $1.3 billion USD in 2024 to more than $2 billion USD by 2030, with a growing share dedicated to naval modernization. Yet the path forward is not guaranteed. The Philippines must develop its human capital, trained engineers, shipwrights, and naval logisticians to sustain such a fleet. Without parallel investment in education and maintenance infrastructure, even the most modern ships could end up idle. Japan's role, therefore, should extend beyond shipbuilding to include training programs, technical exchanges, and co-funded maritime research centers. Only then can Manila escape the cycle of dependency and reactive procurement. The Abukuma-class transfer, viewed through this broader lens, is not the end of a transaction, but the beginning of a transformation. It symbolizes a regional rebalancing in which Southeast Asian nations, supported by Japan's technology and strategic foresight, take on greater responsibility for their own defense. In the coming years, the Philippines shipyards may echo with the sound of steel being laid for vessels that are both Filipino-built and Japanese-inspired, a tangible expression of shared purpose in maintaining a free and open Indo-Pacific. Abukuma is the spark. The true transformation lies in what follows. As the old destroyers sail under a new flag, they carry not just weapons and radars, but lessons that could redefine the balance of power in the South China Sea. The next step, quite literally, will be built in Manila,